You know, I'm kind of glad they did not put any of the unit from this trio in a pay jail. Like, if Yukes was in a pay jail like Chrome was, then it would be kind of weird because Yukes is supposed to be with this trio together, kind of like how Koen and Hasumi are a duo together. Nina Lana, on the other hand, is probably gonna put in pay jail because she is super duper late, and not to mention we're also getting Tressa and Primrose EX next week and she hasn't shown up yet, so oh, Nina Lana. Yukes is a cleric and he is one of Aedelgard's travel companion. Although he is very kind and also very killable, so it's also very to trick him into bad stuff. Yukes is just a normal healer. He has all these skills with him, like the 1-7 hit and the skill that work with warrior, but all of them, despite as unique as they all not really that useful. 1-7 hit is too inconsistent to use, and the warrior requirement for some of his skill is just most of the time a single target, so it doesn't really matter much anyway since single target buff kinda sucks anyway. Both of his passive are nice bonus, but because the effect of the passive is very minimal, the impact of it has on the team is also minimal. And his ultimate is a single target buff, and single target buff sucks. So what is left of him is his burst 2 and his regen, which is the standard for a healer, which in this current time right now, not enough for you to be useful. Maybe if he was released around when the game starts, he would see a bit of play because at the start of the game, we would only have Milad and Muruso as like our healer, where one only has burst 2 and the other one only has regen, and Yukes have both. But at the current stage right now, we have a lot of better healer that Yukes isn't that strong anymore. Sarisa is the battle maid who traveling with Aedelgard and also serve as her personal attendant. Sarisa has two roles to serve, shield breaking and debuffing, and she is really good at both of them. The strongest skill that Sarisa has is her fire-based scheme, which debuff fire resistance, sword resistance, and dagger resistance by 15% defense down. Fire is common because you can find it on characters that have it on other scholar like Mulu or Federica, but dagger and sword is rare. In EN right now, only Witcher has sword resistance down, and I don't think there's any unit with dagger resistance down in EN yet. And so Sarisa right now is super strong in the sword team for EN because Sarisa can combine with Witcher and cap out the 30% sword resistance down on the enemy. So even if Witcher get unlucky with his full hit and it might not inflict as much status effect, Sarisa can just extend that. And not to mention she also has a full hit for shield breaking and anti-attack. And her ultimate is a JoJo reference, and like in JoJo, the name also get localized into something else because the name is I guess this is copyrighted something, maybe don't get into trouble. It's Made in Heaven originally, but it got changed into Heavenly Gift now in the end. Though her ultimate doesn't need to be leveling up though, because Sarisa already has a full hit random dagger that does the same thing. But I guess if you can only manage to bring the enemy down to 5 shield and not 4 shield, then her ultimate will be useful. And also I want to mention how Sarisa is used in JP. You don't put on a normal dagger on her, you put on a dagger with 3 speed sword on her, so she will always be the one that go first on your team. And then you want to use Sarisa as a breaker, you can also put an accessory that inflict resistance down on break. Preferably on a sword team, you would use Yorn for, but Yorn isn't out in EN yet. And her breaker role can be used in any team comp because a full hit always reduce shield point regardless of weakness. But it's most useful on Sword and Dagger Team because of her variable resistance down also. And even now in JP, she still see a bit of play because the only other good accessible source of sword resistance down is Signa. But Signa doesn't have the full hit shield shape like Sarisa does, and also the backward switching like she does. So even though Sarisa might not see as much usage as before, and even though she has competition, Sarisa still see use in JP right now. And Aedelgard is a warrior princess, which is a lot of similarity to another character who is also a warrior princess who is also in red color and who is also named Aedelgard. And coincidentally, this Aedelgard is also a tank who can hit really hard. The only thing missing is that this one is not an apothecary, but it would be fun if she was though. How she works is that she has a 3-hit that inflict taunt status effect per hit. She doesn't have any defense buff for a tank, but she does have a passive that restore HP whenever she takes damage. And when the enemy is taunted, she has 2 options. Either one, she can hit them with the normal 230 nuke that also gets stronger if the enemy is taunted, or she can use her 300 SP nuke and just absolutely hit the damage cap. It's 300 SP at level 80 and 240 SP at level 100, so chances are you can only use it once per battle because you will use Aedelgard other skill which also costs SP. And another bonus is that she hit fire, so if the fight is short, you can just bring Aedelgard, switch her out when the enemy is broken, and hit them for super high damage. Both of her passive benefit from Aedelgard being attacked. So the first one restore SP to her, which is useful, and if the enemy hit you enough, you can probably even use the nuke twice per battle. And the other one is to compensate for Aedelgard lack of defense buff, so she restore HP every time she get hit instead. And her ultimate is a sword attack, but it's also used to fully restore SP to her. So if you break the enemy, on the first break you would use your 240 SP nuke. And on the second turn during the break, you will use your ultimate to replenish your SP so you can do it again next break rotation. Now as for level 10 priority, you can get this either before or after A1, it's up to you. You get it after you get level 10 after you get A1. If you get level 10 after you get A1, then you would get 50 more stat to everything, and the attack stat might not be necessary because Aedelgard already hits so hard, but 50 extra defense, magic defense, and speed might be useful. If you prioritize level 10 first though, then you can have Aedelgard stay on the field a bit longer because you can repeat the ultimate for an extra time, so you can also use the nuke again 1 or 2 extra time. Although Aedelgard was good on her release, later on we got stronger warrior like Aedelgard and Odio, so she eventually doesn't see as much play in warrior team anymore. And even with fire, later on she also gets power creep by Sazantos, whose sword can also hit fire, and he does not have the limitation of SP and damage cap as she is. So Aedelgard sadly doesn't see as much play anymore. So in conclusion, if you were to get one of these 3, then go for Sarisa. Or if you have a bit of money, then you can go for the pay step up and get all 3 of them. Or you can also wait till next week because next week is Primrose EX and she is probably the best gen pool unit we ever got in the game.